taste in their mouth. Brandon Staley heads into year 3. It looked like our friend Zach Robinson was very much in the mix to get the offensive coordinator job, and then Kellen Moore raised his hand and said, we're parting ways with the Dallas Cowboys. I'm available. Kellen Moore is going to take over as offensive coordinator for the Chargers. Yeah, they were 10-7 last year, projected at 9.7 wins this year. They draft Quentin Johnston in the first round to add another big-bodied weapon for Justin Herbert. Herbert last year played with broken ribs and had a good season again. Not as good as he was in 21, but had a very good season. Gets paid this offseason over $52 million per year for Herbert. So now we're in this world where you can't spend as freely. But going into last year, the Chargers were spending freely. They were bringing in J.C. Jackson as the top free agent. They were trading for Khalil Mack. Those guys are still back. But you've got this underperforming defense and Herbert heading into year 4 for the Chargers.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the big discussion point for the Chargers heading into the season is Justin Herbert plus Kellen Moore. What does that create? And of course, is there actually this mythical, theoretical extra percentage of Justin Herbert to be had in the first place? We've always kind of got the feeling that there was, a little bit like Russell Wilson during his let Russ cook period in Seattle. But again, always confounding factors, right? It's complicated last year because the dude had his rib injury, torn cartilage, broken cartilage, whatever the hell it was. And that clearly impacted his play last season. And that this sort of long-standing, well, it's probably the coaches, not Justin Herbert. So what does this look like? Can Kellen Moore actually unlock the best version of Justin Herbert? And does that look like Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, like the very best quarterback in the NFL? Because if it does, I mean, that's the reason we say that Kansas City is the prohibitive favorite every year, because they have that guy. Mahomes is that guy every year. If Justin Herbert becomes that guy this year and really puts himself on that same plane, the hype for the Chargers that's there every offseason is absolutely legit.
Yeah, I hate repeating myself over and over, but you always have different listeners and stuff. So the Herbert question is the thing I'm wondering here. Across 2 different systems, bottom 5 average depth of target guy. We know he's got the big arm. We know he can flip the field. Special throws, highlight reels out of this world. But there's a lot of dink and dunk to Justin Herbert's game, and it's been true across 2 different systems. Kellen Moore's job is essentially to get that out of him, as you said. The other person's job is probably Quentin Johnston, right? Because we went into this offseason saying not only is Herbert more conservative on paper, right? A low turnover-worthy play guy, a low average depth of target guy, but also the Chargers are slow compared to the rest of the NFL. You bring in Quentin Johnston as a big, fast receiver to go with Mike Williams, who isn't really fast, but he's a contested catch specialist, so he's a downfield threat, right? Keenan Allen, who's a underneath threat, middle of the field threat, intermediate threat, not that fast. So you're bringing in a different dynamic, and there's also been those injuries at receiver, and of course the injuries we said that Herbert was dealing with. So on paper, they have the pieces to attack every level of the field, to get more aggressiveness out of Justin Herbert, and say, look, maybe you're going to throw a few more picks here and there, but we're also going to have a few more 40 and 50-yard completions, and we're going to flip the field as you have the ability to do. And instead of 2 special throws a week, make it 3 or 4, and those are big. That's the difference between 3 or 7 points. And so that's what the Chargers are trying to do, and I think that's what they need to do. Lean into the aggressiveness. Let Herbert be special. A couple of years ago, they did a great job overhauling the offensive line, getting that back into a good spot. So I think if you're in the Chargers front office and you're looking at, are we making the right moves year over year? I think they are. That's why we're always so excited about the Chargers every year. They're making the right moves. They're all looking good on paper, and they're continuing to do that. Again, I don't know if this is what gets them over the hump, if they're challenging the Chiefs for the division. I'm not sure they're there, but I think they're back in the playoffs, and if Herbert gets hot, as good a chance as anybody to just make a Super Bowl run.
Yeah. I mean, that offensive line should be very good. Rashawn Slater looks like one of the best left tackles in the league when he's healthy. Zion Johnson, a rookie from a year ago, had some ups and downs year 1, but I think has the chops to play. Corey Linsley is still one of the best centers in the game when he's healthy. Jamari Sawyer impressed when he was playing left tackle a year ago. I think it might be a bumpy transition for him to go from left tackle to right guard, but we'll see how that goes. And then Trey Pipkins at right tackle is solid enough. That should be that sum of that offensive line should amount to one of the better offensive lines in the game, in addition to, the dynamic of everything else with that offense and Justin Herbert and the skill position players. So should be one of the better offenses in the NFL.